The 90-minute matchup takes a fresh look at each remaining team's chances of lifting this season's Champions League trophy following the first leg of the quarterfinals. Is it already over for Real Madrid? That's the burning question after the reigning champions were dismantled by a relentless Arsenal side at the Emirates on Tuesday night. The emphatic nature of the Gunners' win has sparked fresh debate over whether Mikel Arteta's side, despite their injury woes, might finally be ready to conquer Europe. But if they are to go all the way, Arsenal must not only finish the job against Madrid at the Bernabeu, they may also have to overcome a resurgent Paris Saint-Germain. The French Giants took control of their quarter-final with a thrilling 3-1 win over Aston Villa, showcasing their attacking flair once again. Barcelona, meanwhile, looked just as dangerous, overwhelming Borussia Dortmund with a dominant display on Wednesday. And don't count out Inter, often overlooked, they delivered a tactical masterclass to stun Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena, proving once more how tough they are to break down. So where does that leave us as we head into the second legs? Which clubs are on the brink of elimination, and who's looking most likely to go all the way? Here's how the 90-minute matchup ranks the remaining contenders, evaluating their form, momentum, strength of opposition, experience, and overall quality. 8. Borussia Dortmund. There's no denying Borussia Dortmund have shown signs of improvement since Niko Kovac took over from Nuran Sahin. In fairness, things really couldn't have gone much further downhill before the change. That shift sparked a flicker of hope ahead of their daunting quarter-final matchup against Barcelona. But any dreams of a surprise semi-final run were quickly crushed by a brutal 4-0 defeat in Catalonia. Had Dortmund managed to convert just one of their many chances, there might still have been the faintest hope of a comeback in the return leg at Signal Iduna Park. As it stands, though, the second leg is shaping up to be more about damage control than a dramatic turnaround. Even salvaging some dignity won't be easy, especially with Robert Lewandowski always seeming eager to haunt his former club. 7. Real Madrid. Now listen, Real Madrid are Real Madrid. This is a team that lives for comebacks, for drama, for the impossible. So, naturally, no one's eager to rule them out just yet. But let's be honest, coming back from a 3-0 first leg thrashing against Arsenal, at this stage, at the Bernabeu, it feels like a mountain even they can't climb. And here's the thing, it wasn't just a bad night in London. That performance was part of a worrying pattern. Barcelona have already ripped through them twice this season, exposing some major tactical flaws. And let's not forget they barely made it out of the group stage, thanks to a format that's been generous, to say the least. Madrid have now lost 5 out of 11 games in this year's competition. Even with the magic that often surrounds the Bernabeu on European nights, it's hard to picture this version of Madrid, injury hit, unbalanced, and out of ideas pulling off a miracle. It's starting to feel like we're witnessing the final chapters of the Carlo Ancelotti era. 6. Aston Villa. For a moment on Wednesday night, Aston Villa fans were dreaming. With a 1-0 lead over PSG, it looked like they might just be on the verge of pulling off one of the greatest results in the club's modern history. But things quickly unraveled. Unai Emery's men were pegged back with goals on either side of the break, and just when it looked like they might limit the damage, PSG struck again in the dying minutes. That late blow leaves Villa with a huge task in the return leg at Villa Park. Now, don't forget, this is the same team that beat Bayern Munich at home earlier this season, so they're no strangers to big moments. But stopping PSG's electric front three? That's a whole different level. Villa have done incredibly well just to reach this stage, but to go further, they'll need something truly special. 5. Bayern Munich. It was a rare off night for Harry Kane, and unfortunately for Bayern Munich, it couldn't have come at a worse time. The chances were there against Inter, including a golden one early on that Kane, usually so clinical, failed to convert with the game still goalless. Now, all is not lost for the German Giants. Vincent Kompany has pointed to the bright start his team made. They were dominant in the first 30 minutes. But here's the catch, breaking down Inter's rock-solid defense at the San Siro. That's a completely different challenge. To make matters tougher, Bayern will still be without their creative spark, Jamal Musiala, for the second leg. Meanwhile, Inter could be even stronger, with wingback Federico Di Marco expected to return to full fitness after sitting out the first leg. It's far from over, but Bayern have their work cut out. 4. Arsenal. It's been a tough ride for Arsenal this season. One injury after another, both domestic cups gone, and a title race that slowly slipped out of reach. But through it all, Mikel Arteta's squad has kept fighting, and on Tuesday night, they delivered their moment of the season. A dominant 3-0 win over Real Madrid. Yes, that Real Madrid. And it wasn't a fluke, it was total control from start to finish. Even with a commanding lead, Arsenal didn't back off. They kept pressing, kept suffocating the Spanish giants, and barely gave Kylian Mbappe or anyone else a sniff. Bukayo Saka's return added a spark, and Declan Rice, channeling prime Beckham, nailed 2 sensational free kicks. But more than individual brilliance, it was the relentless energy, the togetherness, the sheer intensity that stood out. If they can keep this up, the Gunners could be packing their bags for Munich. 3. Inter. After cruising past Feyenoord in the round of 16 with cool-headed composure, Inter boss Simone Inzaghi had a message: this team deserves more respect. And honestly, he had a point. Even after reaching last season's final and pushing Manchester City all the way, Inter were still flying under the radar. Well, not anymore. Their 2-1 win over Bayern Munich on Tuesday, at the Allianz Arena, no less, was a statement. Bayern hadn't lost a Champions League match at home in 4 years, but Inter came in with discipline, precision, and a game plan built on rock-solid defending and razor-sharp counterattacks. Now they've got one foot in the semis. Yes, Barcelona likely awaits, and that's no easy mountain to climb, but as defender Alessandro Bottoni summed up perfectly, Inter might not have the flashiest squad, but they're built to cause problems for anyone. And right now, they're doing just that. 2. Paris Saint-Germain. Could this finally be the year for Paris Saint-Germain? It's starting to feel that way. Under Luis Enrique, PSG have left behind the era of flashy signings and superstar overload, and instead, built a team packed with real talent, purpose, and potential. And most importantly, they've added grit to their glamour. This is no longer the PSG that crumbles under pressure. They proved that at Anfield by knocking out Liverpool, and they proved it again on Wednesday, battling back from a goal down to beat Aston Villa 3-1 in a thrilling night at the Parc des Princes. The job's not done just yet, with the second leg to come in Birmingham. But with Kvaratskhelia and the PSG front line firing on all cylinders, it's hard to imagine they won't find the net again. This team isn't just dreaming of the final, they're starting to look destined for it. 1. Barcelona. Barcelona aren't flawless, far from it. That ultra-high defensive line. It's a heart attack waiting to happen, even for neutral fans. One perfectly timed run, and they're in trouble. But for Hansi Flick, the reward outweighs the risk, and right now, it's hard to argue with the results. The Liga leaders and Copa del Rey finalists are absolutely flying. On Wednesday night, they made light work of Borussia Dortmund, cruising to a dominant win in Catalonia. And once again, that front three, Lewandowski, Rafinha, and the electric Lamine Yamal, looked completely unplayable. Now, a semi-final clash with Inter could be on the horizon, a true clash of styles that promises to test Barcelona's nerve. But here's the thing, this team hasn't lost a single match in any competition since the start of the year. Right now, they're not just the most informed team, they're the team everyone has to beat.